Today I'm going to review this deck here. It's called the Tarot of the Sevenfold Mystery, second edition by Robert M. Place. Now, I bought a previous deck of his in another review, which was I think one or two behind this one, and you can check that out. I like the idea behind these, but the card quality in the card stock quality of the other deck wasn't as good as I thought it would be. Anyway, let's see how this one turns out. So I took the plastic off before I start the video, just to make sure everything looked okay. And these are a little bit tough to get out of here, so let me just do it in a gentle way. It's kind of weird. They don't really come out very easily, you can see. Hold on, there's some cards here stuck on top. There's some cards stuck on the bottom. Now this card stock, it feels, well, let me see. This deck feels better than the previous deck, so this seems a little bit better, which is cool. This is the back of the deck here, as you can see. It looks really nice. I'm actually really liking that. I think it has kind of a, is it a semi-gloss? Well, maybe like a little bit of a sheen to it, but not much, barely anything. So it's more of like a flat, but they feel kind of smooth, which is nice. And what's really pretty, I just noticed, is the gold gilding on the edges of them. Gorgeous, right? I always like seeing that. The box of the card is phenomenal. He puts this texture or this fabric over the top of them, so it becomes like a keepsake or like a collector thing, which I really like. And the guidebook is just small. Now, there's a book I talked about in the other video that I'm hoping to dive into here soon, and you should probably try to pick that up, because I think it'd be very helpful for reading with his style of cards and whatnot. Inside this little book, what we got going here? Introduction about the man, or about his philosophy, I guess. Let's see. There's not much more in here. Let's see the typical breakdown of what the cards mean. Now, he also aligns them with like Hermes gods and so forth. So some of the cards have a secondary meaning, rather than just the primary. Morta, that's normal. Fortuna, Wheel of Fortune, that's normal. Temperance, the cardinal virtue, that's interesting. Let's see, Fire, the tower. Gabriel, the angel of judgment. So he Apollo, the sun. So he kind of like is morphing different things into the here. And for the minor arcana, he has his basic meanings as well. And I have a feeling this card is meant to be read upright, which is fine. The card deck. Let's see, do any kind of spreads in this here? Let's we got no spreads at all. Okay, so that's the guidebook. Pretty basic, pretty simple. And what we're going to do here is for the review, I'm going to go through the majors first, and then I'll run through the minors. That's just how I like to do it. So let me get the majors laid out, and then we'll do the minors afterwards, suit by suit, because you can compare the energy or the look of the cards side by side, which I like doing because the four elements, right, create your reality. Hold on. They're a little bit stuck together, but yeah, the card quality here does feel better than the other deck. So that is a huge plus for me. I'm really liking this so far. I'm happy that I bought this deck. All right, so we're going to go ahead and kick this off with the Major Arcana. This must be an extra card or something. I'm not too sure what it refers to, but it's the first card in the deck. And then I'm assuming that's the Fool. I'm assuming it's the Fool because the dog. It's my guess. I'm not too sure. Let me look at the book real quick. What is that card? Like I said, he has secondary names. So, yeah. Stulatitia is the Fool, is a beginner who takes the journey through the trumps. Her ass ear symbolizes the body and soul of appetite, her blindfold, ignorance, and her dog or instinct. Wisely, she peeks under the blindfold before she steps. She finds that her precipice is only a small step. Okay, so that is the Fool card. This is the Magician. Next we have the High Priestess, which is Sybil. So you'd have to kind of know what these mean if you're going to read with this deck. I don't know all these names, so I'd have to do a little bit of research on them. 3 is the Empress, Regina. Next is the Emperor. After that, we have the Hierophant. Okay, that's the same there on that side. Should be lovers or next. Let's see, 6. Hold on. The cards are kind of hard to get apart. They're really stuck together a little bit, so be careful when you're handling them if you get this deck. So that's a cool lovers card. Cupid, love, will, appetite, fidelity. That makes perfect sense. 7's a chariot, psyche, appetite, will, and reason. After that, we have justice. And then the hermit. Oh, he has a star floating above his hands. That's kind of a cool hermit. Let's see, this is the Wheel of Fortune. All the signs of the zodiac. I like that, actually. That's kind of a cool interpretation of destiny, Wheel of Fortune type of a thing. Okay. Next is strength, which here is 11 versus, so it doesn't really align with the Rider-Waite. It's a little different as far as numbers are concerned. Then you have the hangman. It says traitor. See, I don't agree with that being a traitor either, the hangman, but for some reason he has it labeled here as a traitor. Next we have, these cards are a little tough though, so be careful. They're hard to get apart. Next we have death. That's a woman or something. That's interesting take on it. Temperance. Then you have the devil. And that's weird because he has like Satan. I don't agree with that because that's not really what the devil is. Ha-Satan. Because here's a problem with that. When you look at this from a different tradition, Ha-Satan, the devil, or whatever you want to call it, is not a demon. It's an angel of God. If you want to get, because it's getting a little religious here, so we're going to go there with that. So it's the angel of God, and an angel can only do what God commands. So really the job of Satan, in this tradition I'm speaking of, goal is to bring you closer to the creator, not pull you away from the creator. So I don't agree with that at all. Now, the devil is more accurate because it's all around temptation, tempting you to do the right thing, but then tap into your will to ignore that and do the right thing. So I can see why it has will and appetite and so forth, because all about desires and whatnot, and the color in the card makes sense. But I don't like the word Satan because it doesn't fit. You know, that's more of a Western tradition type of a thing. Because again, Satan's an angel. Angels have no free will, etc., etc., etc. And I think it kind of like, for me, weakens the meaning for this card. That's just me though. Okay, we have the tower here, fire. I could definitely relate to that. Then we have star, Stella. After that, we have Luna, the moon. Apollo, the sun. Logos, the word. Reason, word. So if you're using the logos to represent the sun, then that logos is word, which is speech, and speech then creates things into existence. So therefore, the sun is about life, vitality by spoken word. That's the vibe I'm getting. Am I right or wrong? I have no clue, but that's how I'm reading that card. Gabriel is judgment. I don't feel a traditional judgment here. I do see the sun as hope, star of Bethlehem, something like that. I think he's going into religious connotations with this card as well, which is fine. Totally cool. 20 of decision to make, the 2. And then we should be the world next. Prudence. Yes, I think these are very well steeped in religious ideology, which I think is cool. So I kind of dig that. And in case you're wondering why I speak the way I do on this kind of stuff, I have studied Hebrew, Greek, written it by hand, translated it, and so forth. I was going to become a teacher of that kind of stuff, religious. And I don't know, when I asked for guidance, I was drawn into Hebrew more and more, and it kind of showed me a lot of things wrong with English text. I don't want to go into that right now, but you'll notice me sometimes get into like different letters of the alphabet and explain them and tie them back into tarot. Because to me, tarot is really more of my connection with the divine, because these cards aren't fortune telling per se. they're more like getting into your psyche, and you can read energy and patterns with them. So when I do readings, I tell people I don't predict futures or anything like that. I read energy because these are full of energy, like fire. You can feel it, you know, the mind, fire as well. Very, not fire, it's air, very swift, very fast, active energies. Passive, earth is what you manifest. The cups is emotional. And what's funny is that these three elements here become this because what you feel, what you think, what you believe become your reality, the pentacles, right? So that's kind of how I read, and it's become more of a religion to me than anything else. I just love tarot and Lenormand and numerology and go on forever. So let's start off here. So we're going to go with the minor cards here. You have pentacles, cups, swords, and wands. These are always passive energy. Keep that in mind when you're reading tarot. And these are always active energy. So it's always something's going to happen. Fire moves quickly. Air moves fast. Water stagnant. Could move if it gets hit with wind or something like that. And then the earth, right? Okay, card number 2. Now they are a little bit hard to separate, so bear with me as I go through this. See, it's just they're really tough to get apart sometimes. Okay, there's a 2, 2, 2, and 2. I like the owl on the sword. So usually the 2 of swords about stalemate. You can't make a decision. The owl's on one of the blades. It's funny too, green and red. And it's like you have to make a decision, but it might be unbalanced. I think that's an interesting rendition of the 2 of swords. Here as well, you have 2 coming together, which gives you more flame, more desire, more passion. This is interesting as well, the way he intertwined the people. Become one, 2 become one. And of course, the snake. And again, too, you have that 8 symbol infinity, which is really cool. So I like the symbology in this deck. It's really nice. Okay, 3s. Now remember, 3s, a lot of times you'll see me reading, I'll say 3s, communication, creativity. That's an aspect of it because it also has the feeling of expansion also. So it's not always just creativity and communication. So 3 can have different meanings depending on how you're looking at the number when you're doing a reading. What I like about this deck, though, is you see here how he's in a boat bringing his fruit or his yield to sell or whatever. That's expanding, right? And he's been able to grow his passion, which is his business. It seems like there, even though pentacles are earth, I'm still feeling that vibe of like he wants to expand and grow. Here is really good because you see the swords are the mind, and the mind is piercing the soul, piercing the heart. So a lot of people say on the 3 of swords it's all about heartbreak. It is, but it's not, because the reason why the heart is broken because the mind is so destroyed, whatever happened, it broke the heart. Understand? And that's why they say that broken heart can kill it, because the mind is in such distress that it basically just breaks everything down, all your core being. Here, the 3 of Cups is cool because you feel that fulfillment, you feel that togetherness, right? So emotionally, it feels very stable and calm. I like that card. And then the 3 of Pentacles is art. He's drawing something, and he has a pentacles here, and he's manifesting his creation of his mind. So after the 2, he decided to produce something. He starts to work on it here. And the 4 is a stabilization of something, or the materialization of something. And we can see that here in these cards, I hope. Let's see what we got going on here. Okay, yeah. The roots. He's digging up the yield, so that makes sense. Stabilize, materialize. The idea then became materialized. He goes and gets it. The 4 of Cups is interesting, though, with the elephant on it. But what's weird about this rendition, it's hard to see that 4th cup. It's right there on the back leg of the elephant. You have to really look for it. So it's kind of like it's hidden behind. He only sees what he sees, which is the 3 in front, but you don't see the 1 behind, really. You have to really look for it and search for it, which means that you got to stop always seeing what's in front of you, and sometimes let your intuition guide you to that one that's waiting for you to grasp it. That's kind of how I'm reading that card. The 4 of Swords has that Zen feeling, very relaxed. I do like this deck. I have to say it's different, but it's going to be great to read with because it's so rich. You know, you can pick up on so many things. Even here, right? You have this harmony and balance. You have the pillars behind you of like desire and love is stabilized, is complete. It's not emotional. It's desire. This also could go into, you know, a sexual type of energy as well, or even a rage type of energy because it's red, right? But here, the candles, this is a very peaceful, loving card where I feel everybody is coming together and uniting as one. It's a really cool. And you have all the 4 elements here too on the box. So it's encapsulating all the elements, which gives you that feeling, like I said, where it's kind of coming together, but on the desire side of things. Next is the 5, which can be contention or freedom, depending on how he depicted this. Let's find out. Huh. I like this 5 of swords. Now, there's no numbers on the cards. You're going to have to really be careful because it's hard to kind of know what card is what, the way these are pictured, but still it's cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, each finger has a wand because it's your hand that can create something. So when you speak that word, think it, you then use your hand to materialize it, and then that can also cause you some problems because the hands can be used for what? Taking life, creating life, stealing something, making something. Right, that's a dual aspect of the 5. Freedom, slavery, love, hate, etc., etc. Here you have him making something like a tool. That's the mind being forged. So you have the 5 is maybe, that's a weird one to read because the 2 is a decision pointing down, so it's not really in a defensive position, but the 3 swords pointing up is more of a protective position. So he has this idea he's working on, and it's being maybe he doesn't want other people to see it, and the 2 just coming down to the decisions. What's he going to do with it? So maybe that's the angle of this card. I'm not sure. But I like how he has a chain around the anvil as well, so everything's locked down. So that's the mind really working hard, and it's getting frustrated. The 5 of Cups here. Oh, okay, he broke free from this here and going to fly away. That's an interesting take on it. And then, of course, the 5 of Pentacles, poor, destitute, a beggar. But do they have to be a beggar or they choose to be a beggar, right? Again. Then you have the 6s. Okay, what we got going on here? All right, the 6 across. Okay, the next one, 7. All right, these are the 7s. That's interesting. Huh. Weird take on the 7 of Swords. 8. Nine. And the 10. After that, we'll hit the court cards. These cards here, the 8, 9s, 10s, and the 7s are a little bit different, so they're kind of a weird vibe. I mean, you could kind of look at it from a balance perspective. This feels very balanced, happy, so forth. Things are flowing well. This feels like, yeah, you're kind of down out, but got to get up. It's like a flesh wound, right? No big deal. Even though you're going to get stabbed with everything else, right? The 10 of Pentacles, usually around generational wealth. This one's different. You have the eyes being covered by the coins. That's also a sign I've seen where in other traditions, when people die, they're buried with coins over their eyes for the afterlife. So that's an interesting card. I'm not too sure what he means by that. And then, of course, the 10 of Wands. Now we go on to the court cards. What we got going on here on the court cards? Lady, this must be the page, I'm assuming. Okay, now I'm going to warn you, if you get this deck, they're hard to get apart. I don't know why, but they feel like they're kind of sticking a lot. So be careful when you handle them and don't get frustrated. But the quality is nice. So the cardstock is lovely. I mean, it's not like the other deck. It feels much better. It's higher quality paper, I think, or just maybe the way they coated them. But I definitely like it better than the other deck. Now we're gonna go into the Knight. I don't think I'd read with the client with this because man, just having to try to get them apart is taking a long time. I don't want to ding them either, so it'd be more, I think, of a study tool than anything else. You have the Knights there. Okay, then we're gonna go to the Queen. All right. And lastly, I like the queen right there, the way she is with the sword. And then she has two feathers, which is thought, right? The mind. So that's a really cool card. And lastly, the kings. All right. Usually I do a read and a shuffle, but I'm not going to with this deck. Those are your kings. So all in all, I would say, well, before I give you my opinion, what do you do? You guys like this deck? Is this something you think you would actually purchase and buy or own? Whoops, almost dropped that. You know, I mean, I like it a lot. I think it's a really cool deck. I think it's something that would be very good to have in your collection, more so for learning than anything else. You want to learn the tradition or learn a little more of the deeper meanings of things and get into the Hellenistic view of things, which I think that's what this is based on. Yeah, pre-Raphaelite paintings and so forth. Golden Dawn. Yeah, so I mean, this is definitely a cool deck. I would definitely recommend it. So I don't have any regrets on buying this one whatsoever. And I think that if you bought it, you'd be quite happy with it. And again, I don't think it's an everyday reading deck by any means, but I definitely do feel like it's something that'd be nice to have in your collection to learn and, just go a little deeper into a tarot. Anyway, that's why I got it. If you enjoyed this, let me know and head over to wordwithatwist.com and sign up for my newsletter or become a member free or paid, because members free or paid have access to information the public does not, because I do sometimes essays or articles where I go in a little deeper and I share a little more meanings on things than I would do in a video, because I have more time to reflect than just running through a video and trying to read live with my intuition. All right. Anyway, till next time, I want to see y'all next video. Thank y'all. Bye now.